Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Star Citizen Alpha 3.10.0 is about to go to wider PTU, and with that there's going to be a torrent of Star Citizen content released upon the interwebs. In the meantime though, I wanted to look ahead to that of Star Citizen Alpha 3.11, what's currently on the roadmap for that release, and what we might see for that patch. Star Citizen Alpha 3.11.0 is the Q3 2020 patch, expected at the end of September 2020. Please understand that even if a feature is discussed here, or is on the roadmap currently, that it still might get delayed. 3.11 is in an interesting place though, as typically the patch for Q3 of each year is a bit smaller due to CitizenCon taking up some of the development resources for that patch. This year, CitizenCon has been cancelled, and this might actually see the patch be a bit more contentful for that 3.11 anyway. I'll start with talking about some features that I think are quite major, or I want to highlight at the very least: the refinery and cargo decks. These are new locations and sets of features for space stations. Refinery decks are dedicated areas and stations that can be hubs for your mining gear, where you can drop off your mined materials and they can be refined there. You can pick up mining missions or buy new mining equipment. You'll take minables there, you'll pay a fee and wait a certain amount of time, and then they can be refined. Not all resources obviously, just certain ones, and then you'll be able to pick them up again after a certain amount of time has passed. At this stage, it is likely that it's just going to allow you to make profit, and literally going to be, I convert this type of material into another type of material and then I can sell it. In the future, it's going to be much more consumed by the needs of NPCs and these sort of like factory nodes and things like this, all part of the dynamic universe simulation, the Quanta system in the future, and might allow you to make a lot more profit, or smart players will be able to hoard a lot of this stuff and then sell it later. Cargo decks are facilities within stations where players can handle all their cargo needs, from dropping off to picking up cargo, buying new cargo equipment, and taking on cargo related missions, including escort missions. There are plans to have times associated with and costs to loading and unloading cargo, as well as eventually being able to rent space in these cargo facilities as well, so that you can store a load of stuff and then sell it later. Docking, however, was removed from 3.11. This is one of those features like salvage that has seen consistent delays. I would expect it for the Q4 2020 patch now though, due to how important it is, as it allows for the spawning and storage of larger ships at stations where appropriate docks exist. It's just incredibly important to the game. Obviously it's not confirmed yet of where it's going to lie, but it's not in 3.11 anymore. Moreover to this, the push-pull mechanics planned for 3.11 allow players to grab larger objects and move them around the environment. That might add to the sort of like cargo mechanics of cargo decks potentially, but depending on if the iCache is finished and some other bits and cargo gets physicalized, we could actually see the moving of cargo between ships, making piracy much more viable in 3.11. Also, we know that Cloud Imperium have been working on a gravity tool for the multi-tool, which would also allow the movement of boxes more easily, both on ground and in EVA. Again, that's not confirmed with 3.11, that gravity tool, but it makes sort of sense that it might turn up there. A mod for the multi-tool that is planned for 3.11 definitely though is the cutting module. That's going to allow you to cut through specific objects with the multi-tool. This is going to allow you to freeform cut on specific surfaces, and might allow you to sort of like get mission items of complete puzzles, like the original satellite down mission that we saw a couple of years ago. But also, there are strong potentials for Tier 0 salvage and looting here as well, allowing you to potentially remove components and weapons from a ship by cutting them out or off. Also, like the accessibility of doors and panels and things like that, to grab something to open an area. That's the sort of thing that multi-tool module might allow for. The Origin 100 series of starter ships is here. This is going to be 3 new ships: the 100I, the 325A combat variant, and the 335C more cargo variant of the ships. They're basically just very basic starter ships. We'll have to see how useful they are in the game once they're released. And excitingly for me anyway, the Mercury Star Runner, the medium-sized multi-role cargo data runner ships here. Really love the look of the Mercury Star Runner. It's a Crusader ship. There's also a focus on Crusader ships this year, it seems, at least in the second half of 2020. Hopefully we will see the Hercules Starlifter, or at least the C2, by the Q4 2020 patch, and we'll have to wait and see. Could be some other little Crusader tidbits coming as well in the future. There is no confirmation, though, in 3.11 if we're going to have the data running abilities of the Mercury Star Runner or the Herald. The real basic version of like data as cargo or mission items being carried by them is a possibility, though we'll have to wait and see. There are further combat updates with the missile operator mode for ships and vehicles, giving players the ability to select and fire specific missiles and torpedoes. Basically, I assume from an MFD, multifunction display, that eventually you could give to a specific player to entirely operate while other people concentrate on piloting and using the gun turrets and stuff like that. Expect to see even more tweaks to the combat and flight model in 3.11 as well, based on feedback from the changes in 3.10, because there's some quite major changes there. There are some important netcode improvements with the server-to-client actor networking rework here, better communicating player actions from server to the client. This will improve the positioning and movement of players and NPCs with improved dead reckoning, helping to reduce perceived lag and instances of rubber banding. Basically, less jankiness, which is very much needed, while also getting the code in a better state for server-side object container streaming, the iCache, and in the future, server meshing. Ship AI are getting hazard awareness and avoidance updates, allowing them to identify hazardous entities such as heavily guarded zones, security areas, and sort of like where asteroids actually are, where they're likely to bump into things, any form of like peril, and then act accordingly to avoid it, or at least be aware that it's there and take that into consideration when they do their actions. Interestingly, there are combat improvements and polishing for the FPS AI as well, touted as final touches to the FPS combat AI. This polishing pass contains final work on behaviors and balancing, as well as fixing bugs. The overall goal is to improve the look and feel of character combat in the game. I assume that it's more referring to basic AI combat rather than having all of the planned AI features for FPS AI finished here. There's no way that it's all going to be done there. I think that's just sort of like a basic combat AI that's not trash anymore, sort of like being finalized, which would be nice. They are improving grenade throwing, making it more accurate and reliable, as well as expanding and unifying the throwing mechanic in general to all other objects in the world that are appropriate for it. Also, the bearing GP33 grenade launchers here. Previously, we saw some leaks that it might have some different types of grenade ammo as well, or there might also be some other grenades to throw in 3.11 as well. We'll have to wait and see. We know that they were working on some bits for that a while ago. Elevator panels. So the utilitarian elevator panels are being updated to use interactable screens and move away from the inner thought system, instead having a more tactile experience where possible. The ability for criminals in ships to surrender to security forces rather than being killed is being added as well. Coming to a halt and then powering down your ship will then allow you to be basically despawned and respawned in a prison, if that's the appropriate punishment for you, have your ship impounded. Now, I think if you're not of an appropriate criminal rating to be going to prison, but you've still done a crime, then you'll probably spawn at the nearby station and have your ship impounded. That's my expectation there. Eventually, we're also expecting a surrender emote to allow you to, if you want to surrender for any other reason, if you're a criminal, then you can as well, and if you're on foot rather than on your ship. Is the idea there. There are death animation improvements, combining updated ragdoll properties with the animation system to make death reactions of players and NPCs more realistic. I actually expect this to also make the body dragging mechanics look even better as well, because it's not necessarily just death animations, it's going to be knockout animations as well, I suppose, and, you know, anything that aids for the ragdoll simulation of a body is going to help a lot for all the stuff that uses that. Some other potential features that are being worked on but not yet on the roadmap are the iCache or the item cache. It's being built at the moment, and it's going to be potentially completed near where 3.11 hits. That's what it looks like anyway to me. It's important for item tracking and efficiency, and allows for full persistence of items. It saves the location of items, so you could hide a stack of gear in an area and come back for it later. Obviously very core to the game. Expect some new missions that make use of all the features that are being added in 3.11, or at least evolving from content that's been put in the last few quarters. Some of the stuff that we've seen, like for multi-part missions, that sort of stuff that we saw in CitizenCon 2019. We know that Cloud Imperium really want to get those multi-part missions in and have missions that basically you complete a mission, and then because you've completed that mission, other missions open up, not necessarily for you, but potentially for you as well, for other players to do in the verse as well. So you've done a mission where you had to steal a uniform, and then take it to this guy. Great, you've given it to him. Now, another mission might become available for someone to use that uniform to go and infiltrate a base. That's the sort of multi-part missions that they sort of foresee there. Obviously, there's going to be chained ones for players as well. If we haven't seen the Idris mission in 3.10, then potentially we could see the Idris mission, the Arlington Gang mission, with the Idris combat at the end of it, with everyone having to sort of like get together to try and take on an Idris. We could see that in 3.11 instead. It would be awesome to see some of the Quanta universe simulation, dynamic economy and mission stuff here as well. If parts of it are ready, then expect them to put it in the game if it makes sense. If not, then we'll be waiting a while longer. We know that Cloud Imperium have been building out ship UIs and MFD updates, so we know and have recently seen that the Gladius is getting this sort of like UI updated first, or at least they were testing it with the Gladius. Expect the UI updates to ships to be further completed in 3.11, with some ships maybe being updated by then. The Gladius is getting an external weapons rack in 3.10 as well, and we could see more functional weapons and items racks in 3.11 for other ships. Physicalized inventory for players is currently being worked on, as is physicalized components for ships, and we don't know the time frame of exactly when they're going to have that in game yet, but we know that actively being worked on. Something else Cloud Imperium have been saying should be in the game soon is vehicle in ship spawning, allowing you to have like a Urza rover in your carrack. When you spawn the carrack to start with, you can just go, I want this vehicle to spawn inside my ship when I spawn it. Bam. The mission giver Eddie Parr could turn up in 3.11 as well. It was moved out of 3.10, though Cloud Imperium said they were doing a pass at all mission givers, so that could be seen later instead, maybe for Q4. We'll have to wait and see again. Stuff that was removed from the roadmap, like the NPC scheduler, shield replacement tech, and weapon handling features. We don't know exactly where they're going to land yet either. Some of them could be in 3.11 maybe. We should see evolutions of current mechanics and 3.10 stuff as well. So there's obviously going to be feedback from anything from 3.10 that wasn't perfect, which is going to be, everything's not going to be perfect, but new items are available to purchase, and more ships and rentals are going to be available in game, most likely for the already flyable ship section that have yet to be put in game, things like that. I expect more skins potentially being added to the game that you can customize your ships with, stuff like that. And again, we don't know when this will land, but Cloud Imperium have been working on a resource and power system for ships that allows for them to track what sort of power and fuel and the particular resource is moving from one component to another, and what's it's been converted into, and that sort of stuff. And it's kind of part of the physical damage and component system, tracking where everything's going, working out what it's been converted to, working out if there's been a break, working out if your ship has the right amount of power, and then sometimes there's going to be a delay in some functions of a ship based on, is the amount of power that you've got correct in each of the areas, and is it using that to convert fuel into thrust properly, and that sort of stuff. It'd be amazing to see that for 3.11, although I think that's a bit of a long shot. And there's a possibility we could see some new straight-to-fly vehicles or ships as well, although at least 3.11 does have a few new ships with it already, so it's potentially less likely. And that's really it, though I did say earlier, things certainly could change with this roadmap and what we have currently listed for 3.11, with some extra bits being moved on and some bits being delayed or moved off. We will take a look at the roadmap for the patch as it develops in the future as well. I'm interested to know what you think, though. Do you think any of those features currently on the roadmap for 3.11 will slip? If so, which ones? Of some of that more potential content I mentioned for 3.11 in the future, do you think any of that will make it into 3.11? Do you think the cancellation of CitizenCon will help with the development of 3.11? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For June, it's for an Aspira Tavaran Prowler dropship and Star Citizen game package, kindly supplied by Cloud Imperium. Just comment on any of my videos made during June to be in for a chance of winning that. Oh, what's that? What am I shilling for this month, you ask? Well, the same thing I shill for every month. If you need a VPN, then check out NordVPN. It's a cheap, fast, and has a load of benefits over free VPN services. Consider it for security, privacy, protection, content accessibility, and even to help with bandwidth limits. You also get a shipload of money off via the links below. I am BoredGamer. I was going to go with BoredVPN, but that didn't sound right. BoredGamer sounds perfect for my shillingness. Also, if you're looking for a gaming PC or a gaming PC upgrade, instead consider Shadow. It's a subscription-based service that starts around $11 or £12 or some euros, and that streams a Windows 10 system to your device, be it another PC, laptop, phone or TV using the powers of the internet, and there's a wide range of hardware to meet your needs. It means you don't have to maintain your own rig, so if you dream of 4K gaming and you don't want to break the bank, it's an option. All their services are very suitable for Star Citizen, but there may be a waiting list based on what country and state you are in.